Hello? Is that too loud?
No,
it's okay.
Because we video shooting, so it's needed for the video shooting. Okay.
Hello everyone. Thank you for coming here tonight, this evening. And I'm going to talk to you about my novel. I've done quite a few events in London, and I've always had a singer with me. This is the first time I'm alone. So usually I can focus attention on the singer and talk in my book. You know, someone's helping me. I'm doing it alone. So
all these people are going to help you.
they will all help. Yes.
We take turns.
That's it. You can all
Take
help me.
turns and help.
Exactly.
Don't worry about that.
So I want to say thank you to Areti because I came to Athens in November and I'm living here now most of the time. And I had met Nadina and she said you must go to the Free Thinking Zone bookshop. It's the place to go in Athens. So I googled it and I came here and I said hello to Areti.
Thank you so much.
Then I asked her if she wanted to sell my book, so she immediately said of course, which is very nice of you. And then it took a while for us to arrange this date now. So I will tell you a little bit about the book and myself. I'm half Syrian and half Dutch, a quarter Dutch and a quarter Armenian. I was born in Syria on the Mediterranean, in the Lattakia. And when I was 15 and a half, we moved to England. And I lived in England on and off for about 33 years. And now I'm moving to Athens. Because Athens, I mean, all the time, all those 33 years when I was in England, I liked it very, very much, but I never was able to root myself there. For some reason, I don't know why. But in Athens, the minute I came here, I now call it my unexpected love object. When I came here, because everyone always told me, even Greek people in London, they always said, oh, Athens is awful, it's a night. I always heard very bad things about Athens, so I believed them. But then when I came the first time about 5 years ago, and I was totally smitten. And then I thought one day, as soon as possible, I'm going to go and live there. Because it feels like all the good things of Syria, a lot of very good, beautiful things from Syria, I can find them here. And at the same time, it's a democratic country. It's a free country. But which I hope Syria one day will also be. So yes, this novel, what I did, people think it's not autobiographical, but I stole the locations from my childhood, like Lattakia, where I grew up, and then Aleppo, where I didn't live in Aleppo at all, but I visited on a number of occasions, and it's an amazing city. So I used those two locations, and then the time period, which is the 70s and the 80s, and I returned in the 90s. So I used my visits as research, and then I created characters. And today I wanted to choose, every time I do a reading I choose a theme, because the novel has many, many themes. But because we're in Free Thinking Zone bookshop, I thought I'll focus on the theme of freedom. Because the character Dunya Noor,
This is the thing we like.
yeah, we like that, yeah, we all like it. And also we all interpret the word freedom in such different ways. But the character, Dunya Noor, her main quality is freedom. She's a free spirit. And she's always doing, the title, The Unexpected Love Objects of Dunya Noor, is pointing to the fact that people are always expecting you to do certain things, or love, even love is never free. It's always in a box. You're supposed to do this, you're supposed to like this, you're supposed to think like this. This is the ideal way to, even in the West, not only in the Middle East. And I noticed that, I show that also in the book, I show the lack of freedom in the Middle East. but also the strange lack of freedom in the West, which comes in a different format. But anyway, I'm going to read the first the prologue here. Dunya Noor had once heard that when love occurred, the object of her love would begin to sparkle, because true love often appeared in the unexpected form of light. Was this really true? Only God knew. Only God, and possibly also the camera. All she would need to do was to take a photograph of that light if and when it shone in the face of her beloved. That was how she proved that he was the one. For there could only ever be one. There could only ever be one God, one Father, one Mother, only one. There could only ever be one sun in the sky, one moon, only one. And in a country like Syria, there could only ever be one truth, only one. And there was only one man who knew it, and his name was Al-Assad. So this is one type of truth, which is, absolute truth. And then there's another type of truth which Dunya and another two characters in the book follow. I need to look at the page there. Page 98. There's another truth, which is the truth you must find for yourself. And I have just a small little thing. Truth is like a bird, difficult to capture. Listen to her song and try to ask her, who are you? Who are you? Ask her once, ask her twice. Ask until you hear her voice. So, in this book I show the kind of the rigid world, and then three characters, Dunya, Hilal, and Suha, who are more explorative. They're always crossing all the lines that are being drawn for them. And one of them is Dunya, is a photographer. The other one, Hilal, is an astronomer, and Suha is a singer. And then, let's see, I will read something about Dunya here. This is chapter 3, which is called Moustache Power. There's a lot about moustaches in this book, different types of moustaches. So Dunya's curly hair, which she inherited from her father Joseph, flew up in small circles, defying the laws of fashion and gravity. This was not a good look to have for a girl in Lattakia. And as if to make things worse, Dunya was also born with what was generally considered a big mouth, also regarded as a major handicap for a girl in Lattakia. Instead of learning how to say the right thing at the right time, she seemed to relish saying the very opposite of what was expected. She had another strange quality, which in Lattakia was considered unbecoming and even dangerous for a girl: curiosity. She liked to look at things, almost anything, as if she thought that the more she looked at it, the more an object or a person would reveal their history to her. She appeared to see mysteries in things that were commonly believed to have none. On the whole, it was agreed that it was as if she were not really the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Noor. She was neither sufficiently Patricia-like, nor Joseph-like, nor a gratifying combination of the two. The parts that I'm reading are from the childhood, and the book develops into 22, 23. So I'm giving you only little pointers that are relevant to the idea of freedom, but you'll see a lot more in the book. By the time Dunya had reached the delicate age of 13, things had begun to change. The school uniform was now basically a miniature military outfit, complete with shoes, epaulettes, and military cap. A new class appeared on the curriculum, the youth military education class, every Wednesday afternoon, taught by Miss Huda, a 22-year-old despot with scary contacts in the bath party and extra black kohel that she used to enhance her terror-inducing eyes. Miss Huda came in one day and told her pupils they had to go on a demonstration the next day, whether they were ill, feverish, or had broken bones, whether their mothers had collectively died, or their houses were on fire, or else. Dunya decided there and then that she wasn't going to go. It was not the first time this kind of threat had been made, and Dunya always joined in the compulsory voluntary marches. She and everyone at the school would stand passively in the playground without daring to utter a word. While one could hear a pin drop, Miss Huda and a band of disturbed-looking assistants would furnish everyone in the school with a placard, chock-a-block with angry anti-American and anti-Zionist slogans. Since everyone, including children and teenagers, agreed that Palestine should be liberated and that Palestinians needed to get their homes back, she didn't understand why they had to be forced to march or why they were not allowed to write their own placards. The venom, humiliation, and rule by fear were beginning to disturb her. Although she was only just a teenager, living in a politicized country meant that Dunya had often heard the word freedom. But when she added two and two together, her calculation was that there was zero freedom in Syria. She saw how her generation was being bullied into submission for no reason that she could understand. The buzzwords everywhere were democracy, freedom of speech, and liberation. There were constant claims that the Ba'ath, or Renaissance Party, had finally given those precious gifts to the people of Syria, and how everyone was deeply joyous. But it soon dawned on Dunya that this was just a lie. A lie, a lie, a lie, she told Maria. Shh, Maria replied. I won't go to the demonstration. You're just saying that. You can't not go. Don't be silly, Dunya. When Dunya fulfilled her promise to Maria and didn't turn up to the march, as she and all the other children had been ordered to do, she didn't know that this was going to be the beginning of the end of her life as a Syrian child. What really put the nail in the coffin of her short-lived childhood in Syria was her refusal to apologize for her absence and her refusal to make up an excuse for it. She also categorically refused to accept the harsh punishment of crawling like a caterpillar along the cement playground. And when Miss Huda asked her, "Is this because you are against the Ba'ath Party?" Dunya nodded. "Yes? Did you say yes? Say it. Say it to me, to my face. Say the word. Are you against our great Ba'ath Party?" "Yes," Dunya said. I just realized I'm reading very serious parts of the book. Very political ones, because normally I also read, there's a lot of love, music, and, other things. Because I actually, even though I'm reading those bits, I don't associate, everyone associates Syria with the war and the injustice and so on. But if you spent a lot of time there before the war, you associate it with many, many other things. It's a beautiful country and quite a fun country, and that's also reflected in this novel. So yeah, if you'd like to ask anything, you're welcome.
What makes Dunya so special? I mean, she's one girl amongst many other girls. Why is she rebellious like that? What makes her so special? You said she was curious. You said, but what differentiates her from the other young women there?
I think in every society, and I mean even in Syria, definitely in Syria, when you are not allowed to do things, certain people, and Dunya as an example, there's always certain people. There's always a percentage, I don't know, 2%, 1%. There are certain people who say no, and it's an inborn characteristic. So I chose a character that who says no. But she says no not only to political stuff. You will see it throughout in many things. She says no to what other people are telling her, and then yes to what she wants. And then you see this story of someone who follows their heart. So she's not particularly, she's special, but there's many, many people like her, I would say, in number, but not in percentage. If we were all like that, the world would be different, I think.
Do you see yourself?
Some aspects, yeah.
Would you like to be more like, or less? I suppose I'm saying, is she like the character you'd like to be when you say she's probably
I'm a mixture. I mean, I have, if there is something I really believe in, I always do it. Even if, and there's always a price. That's the thing, is when you do something, you have to pay a price. So you have to be willing to pay the price. And I have paid, I'm willing to pay a certain price, yeah. But I think when you're younger, you're more, like for example now, I wouldn't risk my life. But I think if I was 13, when I was 13, I would risk my life. I wouldn't anymore now. I didn't see it as a transition because I always was interested in, when I was in my 20s, I was interested in poetry, and also I knew that I wanted to write fiction. But you can't make a living out of that, especially in film when you're trying to find a voice. And so journalism was a way, because you can make a living out of journalism. So I did it in that way. I think I'm not a natural journalist. I'm more...
You're a novelist reading as a journalist.
Yes. Because I don't like to stick. I like to go, I don't like to follow the lines of the story. When you're a journalist, you have to do it in specific ways. I find that frustrating. So, yeah. Even though I'm a journalist, it's very important. But it's also quite dangerous. All kinds of writing. You could be trying to tell the truth, but the organizations that now own the media really control the narrative, and more. So that can also be quite frustrating. They're becoming kind of like a product, but I mean, even books are also a product. I think we need to take a few steps back from that.
Process of writing the book, like where the idea came from, how long it took you, where you got your inspiration for that stuff.
If you please use your microphone for the video.
You can repeat my...
Hello. Can you please talk a little bit about the process of writing the book? The good, the bad, the ugly, the inspiring?
Yes, my process was quite strange because I was naturally, if I wrote something, it always came out as poems when I was in my 20s. So when I was trying to write a novel, it was a bit too poetic, too symbolic, and I was following always the music of the words and not thinking about the structure. So I failed a few times, and then at some point, I think I took a month off. I moved to a much cheaper area in London. I was in the middle of nowhere, I had no friends. That was a surprise, because I was living in a fun area, and I thought, like, if I continue living there, I have to work all the time, I can't, and I need space to write a book. So I moved to the middle of nowhere with much cheaper rent, and then I gave myself a month to just try everything. And I wrote nonsense for a whole month. I knew that because everything was coming out that it was in Syria, so I thought I need to write about Syria. But I don't want to write about my own life. I want to write about things that I think about, and experiences and feelings, but not the facts of my life. But everything is coming up quite stereotyped, because I've read books set in the Middle East, so you get brainwashed. You start thinking, oh, I have to write it in this way. This is how you write it in a book set in the Middle East. And I was finding it, I didn't want to write it like that. So I kept writing nonsense for a month, and also the names of the characters were not convincing. I felt I was making it up. It wasn't real. And then suddenly one day, I don't know what happened, I can't exactly remember, but the right names, like Dunya, when the name came, Dunya Noor, it stuck in my head. And then the other characters' names came up. And I think there was a few lines that I had written like a year ago from the first chapter of Beauty Contact. And those lines were like a string, almost, that you keep pulling it, and then the rest of the story is untold in like that. But there was another part of the book which came out of nowhere, which was in Aleppo, in the old town. And it was more like some of the writing was things I wanted to write, and then other bits would just turn up on their own. Like there would be a baker, a singer, and strange passages. And then I would read them and think, oh, what is this? What did I write? I didn't know what I had written. And then I think, oh, this looks good, I should put it in the book. So then I had to find a way to link those things to the other things. And through linking lots of strange things that turned up on their own, like visitors coming to your life, then the story came up. And also there was another strange thing, because the name Dunya Noor, Noor means light. And I wasn't thinking I want her name to be light, so the surname to be light. And also I wasn't thinking that she's a photographer, it just happened. And then I realized photography is to do with light. And light is also knowledge and truth and all these themes linked. So that I still kept the kind of poetic, symbolic tendency that I have, but I was able to do it in a practical way that fitted in a novel. Does that make sense?
How long did it take?
Oh, when I was stopping stuff, it took quite a long time, because I wasn't writing all the time. I was working in television. I couldn't actually, like, on a given day, I can't be a journalist and also write. Because that way of writing is very dreamy, and so I would just take time off. I was freelance most of the time, so I would take time off. But when I take time off, it takes me about 10 days before I can actually start writing. So, yeah, a lot of wasted time. I'm not the most disciplined of writers. That's the truth. Also because I like to be surprised. Like I can impose the story if I want to. I can write, say I'm going to write this and this and that, and then follow but I try to receive, like to listen, and then see what's going to come, and then choose the best things. It's a bit slow to do it that way.
Now you said it was about freedom. There's something about sexual freedom in there as well. Can you tell us about it?
I could tell you about it. The only problem is I would reveal the plot. But yeah, there is something also about sexual freedom and love. That loving outside the box. Different kind of love. So that definitely comes up in the book, but it's unexpected. So I don't want to tell you. But Judith read it, so yeah. You can talk about it without revealing the plot.
I'm too scared to give away any thoughts.
No, I mean, some of the reviews, they reveal the plot, and then I think, okay, well, what can I do? But I think it's more fun for people to read it and not know what's going to happen. Yeah. It works better, I think.
But then, let's make the question more general. Sexual freedom in Syria. You can say something about that, sure, without giving the plot away.
I mean, I can't talk about sexual freedom in Syria nowadays, I grew up there in the 70s, and there was no sexual freedom. But I have to say, I didn't think that was a bad thing. There was a lot of romance in the air. People were always in love. It was like a very, very romantic country, full of love. The children even, and teenagers, and the feeling of love and erotic power, and all were very strong in the country. It was just that it's considered the society, of course, you have to be married, you have to be virgin, all of that. But a lot of people I knew, I left when I was 15 and a half. They would follow these rules because otherwise your life would be destroyed. But they knew that, none of them wanted to sleep around, just randomly, with random people, in any case. But what they probably wanted, they just wanted to be allowed to fall in love with the person they chose to fall in love with, which often they weren't allowed. Because, for example, if you fall in love if you're Christian, you fall in love with a Muslim, it could be a problem. Or the classes, because there's a very extreme class system. So if you fall in love with people from a different, like from a village and you're from a city or something like that, there would be a big problem. People would, even when I left Syria, every week I used to get a letter that this friend eloped with this person and the parents had a heart attack and then they get disowned for 2 or 3 years. But then usually after being disowned for 2 or 3 years, everyone makes up and then it's fine. Yeah. Yeah. But there were lots of men in hospitals with heart attacks. Yeah. So many, fathers of my friends were hospitalized because of, the girl falling in love. And people fell in love with letters. They would get letters, phone calls, books. So it made it more exciting in a way. Sneaking letters, yeah. So then, poetry. The boys used to write poetry, really, and they meant it, and they were. So there was a nice aspect because it was a bit like Romeo and Juliet. Like if you fall in love with someone from that tribe, it would be terrible, you can't, forbidden, which made it more exciting. So people all the time were falling in love and getting letters and. Looks across the street. So it was quite fun. But then I moved to England, and there was total sexual freedom, which sounds good on paper, but in reality was actually quite depressing. To me, I found it depressing. Because it created an atmosphere where the people seemed just, like I said, they would go to a party and they think they have to kiss someone, anyone, just to look desirable. They weren't allowed to, for example, not kiss anyone, not be interested, and then suddenly fall in love with someone and then take their time, build up the interest, or receive a love letter once in a while. Everything was kind of speeded up, and there was a lot of pressure for people to kind of sleep around, and I didn't find that. Maybe I was impressed, I don't know, but I still think it's not that great, to be honest. I wouldn't choose. I think somewhere in the middle would be, for me in any case. But it's strange how societies always veer towards extremes rather than balance. That's what's interesting, because when you say sexual freedom, we were talking about that, it becomes a sexual tyranny, actually. People are under pressure to sleep with this person, that person, this. That's not, I don't know if that's freedom, in my opinion. Also, separating love from sex is not such a great thing, I think. That's also a tyranny. But anyway, it's only my opinion.
sexual freedom, the idea of home here, because a lot of the characters, like the mother she doesn't fit in Syria, and then Dunya doesn't fit in England, and she doesn't fit back in Syria. What is your idea of home? Seeing that so many people now move around. Is it a theme? Did you think about it when you were writing, when you were thinking about the characters? All the characters, the main characters, they don't fit in any one place. They're larger than that.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I mean, I didn't consciously think about it, but it's very present in my own thoughts that I lost a home, and then I didn't find a home. So I'm homeless. But you're right, more and more people now are homeless. But my home now is people, specific people. And also there are some places, specific places where you feel at home. Like for example, I really feel at home in Athens. Even though it's very recent, but when I walk around, I feel, oh, I'm at home, here I am. And it's not to do maybe with habits, because like when you're born in a particular country, let's say the first tree that your eyes saw, the first, like the quality, the air, the faces, that's what imprints on your mind. So maybe that becomes like, here is closer to how Syria was. So the faces feel like home, the trees feel like home, the food, the smells, even the buildings. There's a lot of, even the type of pavements. So I look at the pavement and I feel at home. But in London, for example, the pavement looks like, oh, that's a strange. It shouldn't be like this. It should. But that's just being stubborn. It's, your mind gets used to certain things. Yeah. But the real home is always with people, I think. Because you could be living in a country where you grew up and you still don't feel at home. Especially if there's a lot of restrictive rules and your spirit is not free. Then you might culturally feel that this is your culture, but your spirit will not be accepting it.
So it's not home anymore, it's like that home turns into prison. So it's a prison that we live in. It's like a whole country turns into a prison.
Yeah, and you probably experienced that because you lived there and then you had to leave.
Yeah, I mean,
you saw.
you're outside, you're not in like four walls, but it's like the air is like contaminated, you know, with this whole. So it's like a big prison, but you're living.
Yeah.
So what, you know, like it's not this tangible thing that we speak about, like the prison. It's like the intangible prison, you know, like everything around you is like controlled, restricted. So imagine a country is like 180,000 kilometers and maybe more, and it's like just a big prison for 24 million people. How it could be? How long will it go?
Use your microphone.
Okay, thanks. So, how long this will last? You know, it's been over 4 decades. And she was speaking, you were like the generation of 70s, 80s. I was speaking the memories of my parents because they are the generation of like 40s, 50s, 60s. That this time of the independence in Syria, it seems to be that when the lady there asked about sexual freedom, I won't say it's like this sexual freedom that is that people experience here in Europe, in the West. But still, that era is different than after 70s. Like socially to be stigmatized because two people they are in love or this class matter, it seems that this being enforced more. Why? We don't know. Like what happened? It's not only this political, like to have a tyranny and have dictatorship. It seems like so many things they've been influenced and affected the whole aspects of people's life. That's the difference. Like 50s, 60s, they call them the golden times in Syria. I don't know why, I didn't give them. But it seemed like it was better then.
Because it was they gained their independence, but then in the 1970s, they had this dictator, and it was almost like a socialist revolution, and they created it.
I would say during the resistance against the French colony that a lot of women, they took part in this, and they were like well known in the history of Syria. So it was, I would say it wasn't easy to, like, the other gender to be oppressed in this way, or like a woman can't feel like free enough to practice her freedom as a female. But through this dictatorship, that people, they have certain type of power, they can practice it. You know, like they practice their hierarchy on the others. It seems like the women also became kind of victims of this. Like it just drove everything backward. We're not in the best days. The new generation in Syria are kind of like this sexual freedom and across religion and ethnicities, that they are having relationships, that we see more examples in Europe because the media tries to spot on these more stories that after they went out of Syria they became free. Sorry, it's bullshit. Like this is was happening in Syria, so that was like secretly, you know. People, they had to be refused. It was kind of resistance. It was a rebellion act against whatever. And one of these phenomena of rebellion was having this kind of relationship. A Muslim and a Christian, or I don't know, cross classes or anything, you know, village or city. Village or city doesn't seem like there is, for me, I'm this, like maybe I'm the generation after you, it doesn't seem too serious nowadays for us, like the generation of the internet and reading. Even until now there is no sexual education in the schools in Syria. But still, everybody is concerned. They're like, youngs are curious to know, you know. As child, everybody is curious. Curiosity is part of our nature. So they read, they educate themselves. So even there is no such a thing in the school. And it's not only about sexual education, there's like sexual freedom, and of course like the education gives you understanding of how to practice your freedom, how to live your freedom. Because freedom can't be freedom if it's unlimited, you know? There's certain limits, boundaries for freedom. Where your freedom is, or where your freedom ends, starts the freedom of the others. So it's hard to sum up all, you know. But I believe a novel, such a novel, I haven't read it yet, I'm looking forward to read this novel. It's something good not only as a novel, to have like romance and like the freedom of, like, based on gender, like ladies in this book, like 2, 3 females. It's also about like kind of to give historical narrative about that period of time, because there is lack of such things. And if even there is some books are written about this time, they are like maybe written in Arabic, they're not translated. So to have it in English, like in the language is lingua franca, more people will be able to get to know, to read what is Syria. Syria is not something just through what you hear in the media. 90% of what is in the media here in the West, it's not enough. It doesn't give you anything about Syria. It doesn't. It's like, I don't take it seriously, not because I'm from Syria, because what is in the media is just eclectic, you know. What the agencies they want. This is a business. It's not this impartial. So we shouldn't forget the media business.
I want to ask you because related to that is you said stereotypes. You said there's a lot of writing that is stereotypical. Syrian writers, I think you said, write stereotypical novels. What do you mean by that, and how do you yourself prevent
saying that Syrian writers are scary. It's more that Arabic literature published in the West, the publishers, I think, tend to choose only specific things that reflect only one aspect about the Middle East. Like, for example, with this novel, when my agent was sending it to the publishers, they were saying, it's very well written, excellent, but it's too funny. You know, this is not realistic about Syria. It's too funny. And the first publisher said, if you take out all the jokes and all the humor and rewrite it to make it very sad and very tragic, they will publish it. That's what they said, because they said that's not realistic.
But
so
sorry,
it's amazing.
What's wrong to be funny? Like, if you take all these jokes, then doesn't refer to the Syrians, because we used to have fun. We lived like
that's
a life,
the thing. Yeah.
even under dictatorship. We are people like.
But they didn't
enjoy
believe me. Yeah, they thought I was in fantasy, like imagining that people are. But the thing is, even now, despite the war and everything, people still, they have a huge sense of humor. Incredible. I mean, the most amazing thing there is how funny people are always finding like one joke after another after another. I mean, last September I was in Beirut, and two of my friends from Syria came, and I hadn't seen them for 8 years. And I was really worried because they had lived through the war, and I was feeling, I was thinking they're going to be in a terrible state. But they were laughing 24 hours. They're more funny than people in London where there's no problems. Seriously. They're very upbeat. So the publisher thought I was being a fantasist, and she said people would be offended as well. So that's the other thing. But also they like stories of oppression, like a girl who's being oppressed. And here, this is a story about a girl who's resisting. But the thing is, I'm not imagining, because I lived there, and I saw a lot of people who were always resisting. A lot. I mean, there's a lot of people who perform, and they do everything and then they get rewarded for it. But there's a lot of, also women, a lot more, lots of girls who are very rebellious, and they don't all get killed or imprisoned, they get away with it. They just get a bad name, like people talk about, and they say, oh, she's this, and she's that, and she's a big mouth. So they get talked about, but they don't get physically harmed. They just get a bad name, and also they call it a bad name, and then nobody, all the kind of the good men don't want to marry them. So they become undesirable as wives, which is the worst possible fate. But if they don't mind, then they can just carry on being undesirable wives, or they marry a foreigner. Also sometimes, that's the other thing, there are a lot of men, again, not the majority, but there are a certain number of men who are quite rebellious themselves, and they like to be with a woman who is like that. They don't care. So this book is about these types of people, anti-establishment, and I didn't make them up. They do exist.
You talked about being really enamored of poetry in your 20s, writing poetry. I was wondering if you could talk a bit about your favorite poets and maybe favorite novelists, or even early on when you were a girl, like what was the first novel you read that really inspired you?
So the first, let me think. When I was up to the age of 13 or something, I used to only read, Tintin, Asterix and Obelix. They're all Arabic things translated from French, or Superman, Mickey Mouse, and the famous fives. I was only reading trash all the time. And then at some point, I don't know, maybe 12 or 13, I discovered Khalil Gibran, the full works in Arabic and then translated from English. He's a Lebanese, he actually, when he left Lebanon was Syria, Greater Syria, so it said he was born in Sharri, Syria. So the culture, the psyche, the language is the same between Syria, Palestine, the whole Levant area. And all the people my age read the entire works of Gibran, and it's very poetic, but they're also narrative. And that was like taking drugs. Then we were all reading it. It's just incredible, very beautiful. And then there was another Lebanese writer from diaspora who's in the States called Hilal. So also I read all his works. And then the first, I remember a friend of mine was reading a book, and in school she was sitting in the playground, and I was looking and reading the first few words, and I was totally mesmerized again, and I was thinking, what is this? This is amazing. And it turned out to be Dostoevsky, translated into Arabic, and it was short stories. And I then understood the word there's literature, and that this is like beautiful writing, it's very deep, and it makes you think and feel, and so I didn't know that there was, we used to read poetry, old poetry or whatever, but this type of creating a story, I discovered it through reading, over the shoulder of my friend. And then again, I read all the Dostoevskys and so on. But when I moved to England, I didn't speak any English, because my second language was French. So I was 15 and a half, and by then I knew I wanted to be a writer, actually. From that Dostoevsky, it really had an effect on me. I thought, I have to do this. I have to do it. This is not, it was almost like a shock to my system to realize that you can write things like that thoughts and feelings could be written in words and so on. But there was also another Arab Syrian poet, Hilal, beautiful. So I used to also read that. It's also like a drug addict. You read and then you can't stop reading. But with the English it was a problem, because it took me maybe 3 or 4 years before I could read in English and enjoy it. And then the first writer the first book actually was Orlando by Virginia Woolf. That book was amazing, really something. And also, this sounds very boring, but I really love Shakespeare. And it's not because with Shakespeare, like, you read it, a lot of it is boring, but the sound, it was more the poetry, the way, the sound and the magical use of words and the incantation. And he goes also into states of minds and moods, which are very similar to the Middle East. Because I think England in the Renaissance was more similar. During the Romantic era and the Renaissance was more similar to Syria than it is. It's kind of the mind still connected to the soul and the heart. Everything's connected, and that reminds me of Arabic writing. So this is a joke, but a lot of people say in the Middle East that Shakespeare is an Arab, and that his name actually is Sheikh Isper. I don't know if they believe it, but they say that. But of course he's not, but he's very passionate and kind of linking. The world is all linked. That kind of reminds me of Arabic way of looking at life.
What language when did you decide that you had to write a story in English? Was it a business decision to sell, to reach more people? And when do you write what do you write in Arabic? Or whatever language you...
Well, when I came to England, I stopped. I used to write a diary in Arabic. And I kept writing it maybe for 2 years. And then I forced myself to write a diary in English. Because I had to choose. I couldn't keep so my Arabic is stuck at the age of 17 or something. And then from there, the English. I only write in English now, here. But some people who read this book say that the spirit of my writing is very Arabic. I don't, because I can't tell. The spirit is Arabic, but so the words on top are English, but what's behind them is Arabic. Oh, you think so? Yeah. That you read it?
I've read parts like this.
Oh, so...
Yeah, I checked on the internet. I read through
Extracts.
Yeah,
So
and yeah.
the spirit.
It's like the spirit is Arabic and it's English language, which
Yes.
is like a nice combination of.
That's good. But I didn't know that, so what means that my operating system is still Arabic because it was installed there. But then, you know, on top, I put this. Yeah. And also, I realized that more because when the book came out, I met a Syrian singer who applied for asylum in London. She was a member of the orchestra of Syrian musicians, and we became friends. And she can't read the books, her English is still not so to that level, but I was telling her the story. This happens, and she found the song for each, but I mean, even specific. I thought, oh, was I copying the songs? But how come there's a song about this, there's a song? And she thought the spirit of the story was very similar to Arabic songs, which I had, I mean, a lot of the songs also come from poems. A lot of songs are written, the lyrics are written by poets, so I think it's all in my head, and then it comes out, you know, mishmash. Unplanned, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't write in Arabic.
Dutch and Aramean, do you speak them?
The Arab is Armenian. I don't really. I understand a lot of Dutch, but I speak very basic. And Armenian, because my father's Syrian, but my mother is half Dutch, half Armenian. But she doesn't even speak Armenian. Yeah.
It's our oldest language.
Armenian or Aramean?
Aramean.
Ah, Aramean. Yeah, no. I mean, in Syria there are some villages where, like, some of the first churches in the planet were in Syria, and some of them in Malula, for example, they still pray in Aramean. And they speak it, yeah. That's the amazing thing about Syria, and that's the part of it also that links it to Greece, is that the civilization is so old. What we hear about is just the surface, the thin layer, but the country, the culture, and the people are very, very ancient, and a lot of things that the world knows about, including Christianity, the alphabet, a lot of them, they all started in that part of the world. And so when you're there, you can feel it. The land itself is full of that. And then there is, of course, the tyranny, which is another thing. But there's a lot of beauty as well. Sometimes you notice the beauty more when there's a lot of, when you have to fight for it. You can also be more aware of it. That's maybe danger, like if you live in a free country, sometimes people forget that they're living in a free, they just start to get depressed, they start to kind of, I don't know, they start imprisoning themselves. They find ways to imprison themselves that are not necessary. But if the imprisonment is not coming from outside, it can easily come from within if you're not careful. There's a book that's very interesting called Fear of Freedom by Eric Fromm, which, he wrote it at the time of the rise of fascism and Nazism. And I think it applies to all humans. And people are afraid of freedom. But even if you have it physically, I mean, if it's there by law, it's not easy to be free from within. Because, it's not easy. Yeah.
Because you cannot manage it. You cannot manage it.
No, you can't manage. If you don't follow, we all have a kind of program of a herd mentality of some kind. If we're not following the herd, we're alone. So we feel under threat. So the easiest way is always to follow.
Yes, because otherwise you have to make your own choices, which is very
Yeah. It's very difficult, but then you pay the price that even though you're living in a country, for example, where you could theoretically do whatever you like, you still need courage, and you might not have it, or you have to develop it, or whatever. So yeah, in that book also, courage is quite a thing that I explore.
Are you going to go to Syria?
I'm not sure that I can. I went to Beirut last September and I read it there, but in Syria I don't think, no. Also because, I mean, the political aspect of it is not like the major part of the book, but it is satirical about the Assad regime and so on. I haven't heard anything. I thought I would get emails or somebody would say, blah blah, we're going to do this, but nothing. But I would be slightly worried about going there. Also because I worked for the BBC, my name was on some programs,